Hi everyone, welcome to day 13 of NaPoWriMo 2021. If you are playing in real time, you are almost at the halfway point. So congratulations for making it here, and let's get into today's prompt. One of my newest favorite poets is Danez Smith, and this poem, Acknowledgments, actually occurs at the end of their book Homey as if it were an acknowledgments page. So imagine you're witnessing this poem at the end of a book. And I will make one note before I read the poem. Like many times happens, a poet will change or revise their poem for their book after it's been published in other places. So I'm going to read the poem as it appears here in this version on Poetry Foundation, with the addition of 2 lines at the end from the book. So stay with me, and here we go. Acknowledgments by Danez Smith. You saved me half a bag of skins, the hard parts, my fave, dusted orange with hot. You say we can't go to the bar because you're taking your braids out. I come over, we watch Medea while we pull you from you. You make us tacos with the shells I like and you don't. I get too drunk at the party. You scoop my pizza from the sink with a solo cup, all that red. You, in the morning, bong water grin, wet chin. You, in the lawless dark, laughing like a room of women laugh at a man who thinks his knowledge is knowledge. I text you and you say, I was about to text you, bitch. You cook pork chops, same way I do. Our family is in another city, go to the same church. You, rolling a blunt, holding your son as a mecca. You invite me out for drag queens on the nights I think of finally. You pull over in Mississippi so I can walk a road my grandfather bled on. You gave me a stone turtle. It held your palms scent for a week. I call your mama, mama. You request like a demand. Make me some of that mango cornbread. I cut the fruit, measure the honey. You and you and you and you go in on a dildo for my birthday. You name it Drake. You know me. A year with you in that dirty house with that cracked out cat was a good year. At the function, I feel myself splitting into too many rooms of static. You touch my hand, and there I am. Do you want to be best friends? A box for yes, a box for no. Did our grandmothers flee the fields of embers so we could find each other here? Friend, you are the war's gentle consequence. I am the prison that turns to rain in your hands. You at my door the night my father leapt beyond what we know. You dirt where I plant my light. The branches of silence are heavy with your sweet seed. You smell like the milk of whatever beast I am. Your poop is news. Your fart is news. Your gross body, my favorite song. You, drunk as an uncle, making all kinds of nonsense sense. I listen for the language between your words. And when we fight, not a ring, but a room with no exit, we spill the blood and bandage the wound, clean burns with our tongues. If luck calls your name, we split the pot, and if you wither, surely I rot. We hate the same people. We say, please, with the same mouth. And before we were messy flesh, I'm sure we were the same dust. Everywhere you are is a church, and I am the pastor, the deacons, the mothers fainting at the altar. As long as I am a fact to you, death can do with me what she wants. My body, water, your body, a trail of hands carrying the river to the sea. I ink your name into my arm to fasten what is already there. I would love you even if you killed God. You made coming out feel like coming in from the storm. You are the country I bloody the hills for. You love me despite the history of my hands, their mangled confession. At the end of the world, let there be you, my world. God bless you who screens all my nudes, drafts my breakup text. You are the drug that knocks the birds from my heart. Ain't no mountain, no valley, no river I wouldn't give the hands for coming to you sideways. Oh, the horrid friends who are just ships harboring me to you. And how many times have you loved me without my asking? How often have I loved a thing because you loved it, including me? And I always knew, with your ugly ass. Okay, so I realized after I read it, the two lines I thought were the end that are in the book were actually moved up. So there's actually two different versions of this poem, one in the book, one that I just read on Poetry Foundation. It's basically the same poem, but different versions. Anyway, so one of the reasons why I love this, well, I'll say more at the end, but let's just get into the prompt, because one of the reasons I think that writing poetry can be so healing and wonderful is when we take some time to acknowledge and appreciate the things and the people around us. Of course, there's many, many reasons for writing poetry, but today I would like to invite you to make a list of people in your life you are grateful for. So they can be currently in your life or previously living or dead, whatever it is. As we saw in this acknowledgments poem, there are no names mentioned, but I imagine each one of those little sections could be a different person. Maybe some of them are towards the same person, but I imagine, this is a chorus. This is an acknowledgments poem celebrating a chorus of people in the poet's life, which the whole book is sort of like that. So go ahead and just make a list of people you're grateful for, as many as you want in 2 minutes or until you feel done. Okay, so for each person on your list, however many you have, jot down next to their name at least one image, phrase, or memory you associate with them. First thought, best thought. Of course, there's going to be a million, but just what are the first one or few that come to mind? Thinking about their voice, their mannerisms, your relationship, places you've been. Just want to get something on the page that right at the tip of your tongue. Okay, so this is a pretty simple prompt because the idea is to have this list of people that you are grateful for in your life and acknowledge them in a poem. You don't have to use their names. As we saw, Danez Smith did not use anybody's names. You could do it in the way that they did it, which was to use you. You could use other types of pronouns. You could use names. You could use initials. There's a lot of different ways you could do it. But the idea is maybe try and mimic the style of Smith's poem and give each person just a brief moment of a line or two or so and construct just a quick little snapshot of your relationship through an image or a memory or phrase or even their voice. So you saw dialogue in the poem, and we can use their voice, their dialogue if you'd like. Voice is a big part of relationship and who we are. So this does not have to be a narrative poem. Each verse can basically be unlinked. You don't have to have connections between each person. And the fun thing about this is thinking about your relationship with all these different people in your life. Of course, you're going to have moments that are only between you and that person, like an inside joke or an inside moment. See if you can write your poem with that in mind. Like a lot of times we think about poems that want to be universal, or deeply widely understood. Don't even worry about that. Think about your particular relationship with each person and put that on the page to see what comes out. It can be very interesting. And what is universal about the specifics is human relationships. So just focus on you and that person and write as many little mini verses. That's what I'm calling them or thinking about them as, little mini verses. You could use a star or an asterisk in between or not, whatever you want. But just have fun and enjoy doing that, having a little inside moment with each of these people. And then, if you want, just come back for a brief moment or enjoy the rest of your writing day. Okay, so a brief moment about the poet Danez Smith, who is a wonderful, wonderful poet. I have two books, Don't Call Us Dead, which was the National Book Award finalist. And this book is actually heavily influential on me for many reasons I don't have time to elucidate right now. But the poem that we looked at today is from the book Homie, which I will mention related to the poem is an entire book sort of celebrating the poet's relationships with their friends and their life. And it's such a celebration. And if you all know me, I do love celebration. There's so much to grieve and be sad about and to be angry about. And I feel all of that, which is why I think celebration is such an important emotion to or state of being to intentionally cultivate, especially when we're highly aware and attuned individuals to the, the sorrows of the world around us and the injustices. Celebrating what we have is, if you want to think about it this way, a way of reclaiming your own power and joy, working against the machinations of societal oppression. I mean, if we're going to go there, I'm going there, and there's enough in the text to alert me to that sort of conclusion. So I really think that Danez Smith is one of the great poets writing right now. Um, anyway, you can just know that they are doing a lot of good stuff right now. They have multiple, fellowships, books, all of that. I don't have much to say other than I read a few interviews with Danez Smith, and I have so much that I have learned from this poet, and I feel like I don't necessarily want to go on and on about it, but I will make the note for anyone who is not familiar with Danez Smith. Danez Smith is a Black queer writer and performer from St. Paul, Minnesota. Really, really just a bold and direct, um, important writer of our time, in my opinion. Uh, I what I really like, what I do notice is the voice that Danez Smith employs in Homie is using the vernacular and the colloquialisms of their friend group, and putting that into poetry is totally allowable. I love the study of voice in poetry, and I think voice is something that we hear all around us in our friends circles and the news media and television shows and music. There's so many different voices around us all the time, and Danez Smith employs voice to great effect. So I just want to give permission. What I have learned from this poet is to give yourself permission to write in the voice you want to write about the things you want to write to the people you want to write to. So I remember, reading Danez Smith at one point saying something along the lines of like, I know who my audience is. I'm writing to, my people of color and queer folks, and I don't want to mangle their language exactly, but basically I'm not writing for or to the white literary establishment, like the status quo. That's not who I'm writing for or to, and that is totally okay. So there was a lot of freedom I learned from reading Smith, and permission, I suppose, to write to and for the people, your audience, your friends, your homies that you want to, and include them, because the people in our lives are such an important part of who we are as people and as writers. So hopefully this prompt was a little opportunity simply to take stock and acknowledge and nurture a sense of gratitude, for the people in our lives who have made us who we are, and our family and our community. Whatever family and community means to you, but we need people around us. Humans are social creatures, and even if we are just connecting across YouTube right now, I am grateful for you in part, and for being part of my writing community. And I will let you go and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.